Welcome to the Ballard Proud podcast. It seems everyone can agree that Ballard is a fantastic school district, and when asked why, the answer always includes some reference to, well, it's people and relationships. So I'm on a mission to get to know the people of Ballard and find out why everyone is so proud to be part of this district. I'm Danny Trimble, Superintendent for the Ballard District, and I'd love for you to come along with me on this journey to uncover what it means to be Ballard Proud. Welcome to the first edition of the Ballard Proud podcast. Our first guest is Jen Dovre, our district teacher librarian, and she's housed out of the high school. Welcome, Jen, and thanks for saying yes and for being willing to share with our Ballard community today. Our first question, tell us about your path to Ballard. I love this story.
Are you prepared for the long answer?
I am.
Well, I think it's fair to say that my path started generations before me, as corny as it sounds, but my grandparents attended school in Slater. Both of my parents, as well as many aunts and uncles and cousins, graduated from Ballard before me. And then my own experience as a Ballard student definitely has had an impact on my path to Ballard as a teacher. I remember attending the old Slater building, and as a kindergartner, having Mr. Ronka, who was the PE teacher then, lifting me up to the pull-up bar. I remember also getting to participate in building the wooden playground at what was the new West Elementary. They allowed us kids to help out with that. I remember being really anxious and excited about participating in our third grade production of Willy Wonka. I also was fortunate enough to play at Betts Auditorium for state basketball. I got to play alongside my sister on the softball field. I was shortstop, she was third base, so we got to duke it out who got to get some of those balls, and got to play state tennis with my best friend. So yeah, I just had so many great experiences as a young person attending Ballard. And then, I, like most high school seniors, just thought I wanted to get out of here. I wanted to get away from my small town. But in college, I just kept getting drawn back to Ballard. I remember having a prompt, and it was to write a letter to someone who's challenged you. And Mrs. Lem, my senior English teacher, came to mind. And when I returned to a high school basketball game as a college student, I remember being stressed out about that I didn't feel like I knew enough content to be a good teacher. And my former teacher, Mr. Coquette, who was assistant principal, at the time, I had mentioned this to him, and he said, "Jen, you don't teach content, you teach kids." So, it was a moment like that when I needed materials to write a paper for my senior English final assignment. It was Mrs. Raymer I reached out to for those resources. I had our former athletic director, Gary Telford, emailed me and asked me if I'd help out coaching. It was at Ankeny for him, but it got me pulled into the coaching realm. My former softball coach, Stacy Stiza, called me and asked me if I'd come back and coach softball for junior high. And then the final thread getting me to Ballard was when Mr. Ronka called me. I had already interviewed at a neighboring district, and I think I was close to getting the offer. And he said, I talked to somebody today and I heard that you're interviewed. Would you just hold off on making a decision on that before you interview with us? And so until after you interview with us, and that's all I needed. So that's the long story, my path to Ballard. missing a lot of threads in there too, but.
Oh, I can only imagine, but the connections that you've mentioned and the history that people are going to love hearing about your path. Gosh, what a great story.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty special.
Yeah. So let's talk about today. Here's a lighthearted question for you. What is currently on your playlist? I have to know if you're a Swiftie.
What'd you say?
I have to know if you're a Swiftie.
When I saw, or when I hear playlist, I actually was thinking of podcasts. I listen to a lot of podcasts. That's kind of my go-to, or my audiobooks. My kids are Swifties. We listen to a lot of Taylor Swift, but it's not usually my choice. But I do like her. But I'm forced. So I was thinking about podcast playlists, and I love This American Life. It's one of my favorites. I love to listen to stories, and I love learning about people. I love getting new perspectives, and This American Life is often pretty witty and creative in how they put people's stories together. Also, this summer, I got tuned into We Can Do Hard Things, which has given me this summer. I just had some fresh perspectives, and I love in conversations just having these little nuggets that I wanted to ask people about. And so it always gave me something. I haven't listened to it a lot, but I really have walked away with some things to chew on. And so that's on my stream. And Hidden Brains is another one. I do a lot of research projects in my job, and I just love how they take science and they make it relevant. They take scientific studies and they make it relevant and interesting. And so I really like that too.
Nice. I also want to ask about anything that you're streaming for fun, but I also want to just throw out there that maybe you don't have time for such a thing, because I know you have got a busy household and we didn't really talk about that. So if it's nothing, I would not be shocked.
It's no lie that it's very hard to sit down at night. By the time the kids are in bed, I'm ready to be in bed.
Yeah.
But The Crown is one that we may carve out an hour once a week and just say, okay, we're going to bed a little bit later. I love historical fiction. So The Crown is one that I find intriguing. Something about the royal family is so interesting to me. And then on my treadmill indulgence, so this is when you actually get to watch a little TV, is when you're on the treadmill. And I've started watching Suits, which can be slightly inappropriate, but there's so much humor. And again, the legal field is really interesting to me. So
yeah. I love both of those questions, because then I can take notes on, okay, what's next for me?
There you go.
Yeah. Okay, what else do you do? What else do you like to do when you're not at school? This is the get to know Jen part.
Yeah. Well, I love spending time with family. I have a large family that stayed close. Besides my immediate family, my kids and my husband, who obviously I love spending time with and having experiences with. My extended family is a big priority. Spending time with those folks. I love playing games. I've been accused of being too competitive many times in my life, and I think I've grown up and matured a little bit, but I still love games. I love playing any type of game. Outdoor activity is, I love paddle boarding. I love hiking. I like being out in our state parks, riding our bikes. Anything I can do to be active. Sitting still is sometimes hard. And travel is probably what I like to geek out on. I love to look at maps, and I love to explore and find good deals. So those are some things I like to do.
Nice. Last question. When you hear the words Ballard Proud, and I kind of think, who might speak to this better than you? When you hear the words Ballard Proud, what comes to mind?
Yeah, I find it a little bit hard to speak to this, because it's a feeling. It's kind of an abstract feeling, but I guess I think obviously it's the people. Just last night being at third, fourth, and fifth grade concerts and seeing the auditorium get completely packed for every grade level. And just the excitement and seeing the kids on stage who were so nervous, but you could tell, like, when they said their lines, some of them just like fist pumped, and they were so proud. And you could just feel that Ballard Proud in that space. And I think about when I see former students, and I sometimes like, hey, would you help with this? Because, we're so proud of the people that have come out of this system too. And I think about how many Ballard alum are involved in teaching or coaching, or even in our organizations like the Booster Club. And it's just like that desire to come and give back. But also in our young people, that that we see taking on some of the challenges, like speaking in front of people, performing in front of people, in so many different ways. Just those, I guess the what is it that I'm trying to think of? The challenges that are put in front of them, and that they do their best, and that's what we're so proud of, right? So yeah, I just think it's those connections that we build here and how we see them carry on in different ways. I also think, though, a part of me kind of went to that Ballard person, like, because that's who I am. I came up in the system, and I felt drawn to come back to serve the system that supported me so well. But I think too of these people who have come into the Ballard system, and they've put their roots down, and they've said, we like what's here. I mean, we want to continue to make it better. And I think that's really important too, for the success of our community. And so I guess I'm thankful and really proud of people who said, maybe this wasn't where my roots were, but I'm gonna make it be my home and make it the best. And so I think that's really Ballard Proud too.
Well said. Jen, thanks for saying yes, letting us have a glimpse into a little bit more of what makes you tick, why you're here. We appreciate you opening up like that, and happy holidays.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity. I do appreciate it.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Ballard Proud. There's more to come as we dive into what it means to be Ballard Proud. Until next time, I'm Superintendent Danny Trimble, and I hope you have a great day.